Thanks for tuning in. I'm joined by Rebecca Horman from Philadelphia, I believe, but resides in England. Accomplished ultra runner, backyard veteran as well. I think we could say, since you've done a couple of them. Just take
Definitely.
that accolade. Thanks for joining me.
No worries.
So we're just going to touch on the various news and things that's happened overnight on Loop 2 and what we know about the Barkley, just to save some people scrolling through X. People are off X, people are on Mastodon and all these various other platforms. So we're just collating some of this information because we're geeking out on it. I put some of the stuff into a spreadsheet. And so first off, so we're seeing that there are 17 runners out on the course. It may have gone down slightly at this point, but interestingly, Keith Dunn, our person on the inside, is telling us that 10 people are potentially able to finish at this stage. Still highly unlikely that 10 will finish, but it is sort of looking good, isn't it, for some finishers this year?
It's looking really good, although I think the key word there is potential, right? Because a lot can happen in the next couple of hours, in the next couple of loops, right?
Yeah, totally. And as far as the weather goes, the weather's remaining sort of settled. It looks kind of nice in the pictures that we're seeing. The sun's out. There's no rain. Winds are fairly light. So it's probably quite hot out on course whenever you're in the forests. Um, but we do have rain coming in tomorrow. But I think that's going to miss most of the runners. So we have had, I think, just looking at my spreadsheet, uh, quite a big group of 8 people come through in around the same sort of time or similar sort of window on Loop 2. Judging John Kelly, looks like he's leading the pack. The pack there, that there is a group of 5 or 6 came through on the 19-hour 27-minute and touched the gate. So really condensed group. What do you think John's chances are of getting 5 this year?
I mean, he's looking really strong, isn't he? And looking like he knows what's up. He knows what he's doing. He's got a lot of experience on those trails. So, I mean, if anyone's going to do it again, it'll be John for sure. Although you kind of want someone else to have a go at it and finish the race. But I mean, he's got really good chance at it.
Yeah, interesting that one of the big sort of drops overnight is Aurelion Sanchez, last
Yeah.
year's winner. And what was the quote? So he dropped about an hour into Loop 3, and he said, "I don't know how I did this last year."
I know, I liked that. That was good fun. I think that goes to show that like Laz does change things up, doesn't he? So that you don't know what's out there really.
Yeah, it's interesting that he can just come back 1 year later with experience, which is so important at the
Yeah.
Barkley, and he doesn't even get fun run. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm happy that the Barkley is remaining epically difficult,
Yeah.
because I did think at the start, it looked like, oh, there could be quite a varied and amount of people finishing this.
Mm,
And then what about Jasmine Harris? She's absolutely killing it this year. What do you think of that?
definitely. And definitely as a female ultra runner, I'm all for that. I'm like, let's get her through that. Let's get her to finishing the Barkleys at least, this year. So, cheering her on really, really strong. We'll come down to the last couple loops on it to see, once they break up from that little group that they're running in, to see what
Yeah.
happens then.
The cool thing about Jasmine is, she has all of not only is she great runner, ultra runner, tough, ground sort of technical runner, she has the navigational
Yeah.
expertise. She comes from a fell running background. She has a previous course record at the spine, so she can go really long. She's just really gritty. And I love that, you don't see much of her on social media. She'll do a few interviews and stuff. She just keeps her head down and just enjoys kind of grinding these things out and doing them really well. Some interesting stats here comparing 2023 to 2024, and we might as well start with Jasmine. So her two loops last year was 1927, and this year it's 21:15. Or sorry,
Interesting.
other way around. Other way around.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. So faster this year
Yeah, so
than
much
last year.
faster this year, and she touched the gate kind of in second, coming in with John Kelly. So they're basically going side by side, which is
Yeah.
great. You know, Jasmine doesn't need anyone to carry her around. You know, she'll
Definitely
be
not.
just as much of a leader in that group as John would be with her experience last year.
Mm.
And then another Brit in that group as well. Obviously, Jasmine and Damien are.
Mm.
I don't know if they're still Innovate teammates, and Jasmine may have left that, uh,
Mhm.
but two Brits running together, which is interesting. What do you think about Damien's chances this year?
I've got high hopes for him, but he seems like I don't know. He hits a wobble at some point normally. So obviously going the way he wants it so far. So I wanted, I want to be all for him, but I don't see it pulling through there, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
But you never know. We'll see.
he's got the ability he's got the endurance, he's got the talent, but I'm not
Mm.
convinced by Demo's navigation ability. So I think once it comes, I think he'll get the fun run, and then once it goes into the alternating loops and 4 or 5, I wouldn't put money on him finishing.
Mhm.
Maybe it's harsh
Yeah.
to say, but I'll just say it how it is. But I wish him the
Mhm.
best, but I'm not
Yeah.
putting any money on him.
That's completely fair, though. Completely fair.
And just a couple of other things before we sort of wrap it up. We'll keep these nice and short and sweet. So, as I said, Keith says that there's probably 10 runners still with a potential finish. And if you look at that, 10 runners takes us down to in and around sort of Jared Campbell. Jared
Mhm.
Campbell's grinding away there, really experienced. He touched the gate in 1952. So that's really solid. That's an hour quicker than last year, which is pretty cool. I'd really love to see Jared get through and get into those later loops. What do you think about Jared?
I don't actually know too much about him, to be honest, just other than his Barkley performances. He's another one of those runners who he's clearly off to a good start. Like same with Jasmine, he's cutting down his times. So it will really depend on what happens in the latter half of the race and how he gets on navigationally as well. And like you're saying before, the weather to see how that pans out as well.
Yeah, he almost is like a bit of a Jasmine. He's into
Yeah.
big mountain projects. Sort of fuck social media. We're not interested in that. Do some epic big routes. Keep your head down, and he just shows up at Barkley, and you mightn't hear
Yeah.
from him again until this time next year. So I've got to admire that. But I think maybe just in closing, the big news on Loop 2 was really the dropping out of Aurelion. So yeah, I think that's the headline.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
definitely.
we'll wrap it up at that because I know you've got to get out for a run. I've got
I
some.
do. I do have a question though. Have you heard anything more about this? The trash that got laid around camp. Have they tracked down who that belongs to? Because I'm wondering if they're going to disqualify them when they next see them, or wait until they, tap out and then be like, "Oh, sorry, your efforts were in vain anyway."
Never come
Do
back
we know
again.
anything about that?
Nothing has made it out on X about who these
Mm,
who these runners are, which I sort of think is a good thing because uh,
mm,
you know it could have been an accident. It is what it is.
yeah,
Laz is well within his rights to disqualify them,
yeah,
and
for
I,
sure.
I hope he does it and all that type of stuff. He might as well do it in true Barkley fashion and just you know wait until they've done something and then come back exhausted and go, by the way, you know,
Yeah.
you're disqualified, cheerio. But we don't know the names. Probably a good thing we never know the names because they'll just get some hate on social media. But
It's true. It's
um,
true.
we might be leaving that news story on in this episode. We've just got a comment come in. Are those the boxes that dumb watches came in? What I have no idea. Thanks for that. Oh, maybe it's the boxes
Ooh.
that the watches that Laz gave them. Maybe that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
potentially. Seems like a lot of cardboard for little dinky watches that they get, though, so don't
Well,
know.
I mean, it's Tennessee. I don't know what the green credentials are down there. I'm not gonna,
It's America.
it's America. It's state by state, county laws and all this type of stuff. So we'll not judge. We'll just they can do it their way. Is there anything from you before we wrap it up?
No, I'm just excited to see what happens. Let's see if we can get Jasmine to finish this year. That would be great, especially like I said, for the female ultra runners out there, we'd be loving that. So yeah, we'll see. We'll just see what happens. Hopefully the weather's all right.
Yeah, totally. All right, guys, thanks for jumping in the chat, and we will be back this evening with another episode to talk about what's gone down in Loop 3, see who's got a fun run, and any other news that maybe we've got from the water tower and some of the crews that are out there. So I'm going to go and walk my dogs. You're going to go for a run,
Yep.
and hit subscribe so that you get notified whenever the next show goes live, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.